Go into your working folder and open up convertassign.psd. It's my little primer on the differences between assigning a profile and converting a profile. Now, if we have an image open, a photograph, even this, we can go up to the word Edit on the pull-down menu, and we can go down here, and we have an Assign and a Convert. Now, there's a lot of misconception about those two, to be honest with you. Some people feel Assign is a temporary thing, and that Convert is a permanent thing. And in a sense, that's true. But Assign and Convert are two different ways to change the color information in an image to a device that you want to go out to. And Assign is not the best one. If I want my image from my camera to Photoshop to, say, a printer, wherever I'm going, to be as good as possible, I would probably use Convert, but let me explain that. Assign is kind of like a bad translation of a book. I've got a lot of nieces and nephews, and I make things for them for Christmas, or I assemble them. Do you ever see those instruction books that come with some of the stuff? And it comes from overseas, and they use a conversion program for the language, and sometimes the language just doesn't sound right. When you use Assign, it's kind of like using a poor translation program. When you use Convert, it does a better job. Let's go to the word Window and go down to Info. Now here is the Info area. I want you to keep your eyes right here on RGB. Now if I come over, you can see the RGB values of that block are 104, 158, and 186. This one's different, and that one's different. Okay. If we go up to the word Edit, now that we've got that open, and go down to Assign first. Basically, our choices are Don't Color Manage the Document, Working RGB, and Profile. Turn Preview on and change it to something else. Now you can see, let me turn this on and off. It does change. The image has changed its color based on that. But I want you to look over here. It says 104, 104, 158, 158, 186, 186. Those were the original numbers. This is why I don't like Assign. What Assign does is it doesn't physically change the color information numbers. It tweaks them to make them something else. And that's a poor translation. Let's get out of here. Let's go into Edit, and this time let's go into Convert to Profile. Now at the top, that's the source space. That's the one it was born and drove in with. This is the destination space. Now if we come in here and say, go out into US Web-Coded Swope Paper V2, you see what it did over here? It didn't duplicate the colors and just actually say, okay, they're now this. It actually physically changed them to the correct translation. So it's a better translation for the output device. In my opinion, in most cases, you want to use Convert to Profile, not Assign. Now, while we're here, we do have this right here. Now, this is called CMM, Color Management Module. You have two. I would suggest Adobe is the best by far, and I would suggest you just leave it right there. Now, for intent, you've got four, but the two you're probably going to use the most are perceptual and relative colorimetric. Saturation and absolute are really for very specialized kind of things. But what does it do? How do I map out colors I can't print, the out-of-gamut colors? Perceptual will slightly shift them to the output device and help blend them into the colors that are okay, whereas relative colorimetric would be a bit more harsh about the whole process. So, suggestion. Perceptual is great for photographs in most cases, whereas relative colorimetric is better for this kind of stuff. Leave it at perceptual. Use black point compensation basically says take the darkest area of my source document and map it to the darkest possible ink in the destination. That's usually a good thing to leave on. Dithering introduces noise to an image. Now that might seem counterintuitive to photography, but it actually works in most cases pretty good to help the colors blend more naturally together. On something like this, you'd leave it off. Now, we don't have any additional layers. However, things like blending modes and opacities, when introduced into multiple layers, can look different when the image is flattened. So it's saying, do you want me to do that? Now remember, if you do, it does flatten the image and you lose control, so make sure you want to do this. But I would suggest this. If your goal after Convert to Profile would be to flatten the image, do it before you get here. and then come here and make these changes. I think you will see a better image in the end. Click OK and set it. You do need to, in most cases, assign or convert a profile to help it understand the output device, but convert is better than assign in most cases.